In our Abuja studio, I beg your pardon, Registrar and the Chief Executive Officer of the Council of Nigerian Mining Engineers and Geoscientists, Professor Zacheus Opafunso. Good to have you on the show today.
Good afternoon, and I'm glad to be here for this program.
Thank you very much for your time. Now, let's start off with the mining sector and the climate we have within the industry in Nigeria. Existence of multiple regulations somehow, some way, seems to reduce investors' confidence as the costs and requirements to adhere to some of these have contributed to the seeming lack of interest. What do you make of the performance we saw last year, despite the impact of the COVID-19? What do you think should be the forecast for this year?
Well, thank you very much. The COVID-19 issue had been with us, and it came unexpectedly, and it's all over the world. And the impacts on our economy, the impacts on employment in particular, every one of us can see it. And today we are focusing on the area of mining. Don't forget, when the lockdown came, it affected every section, every sector of the economy, including mining. And when you lock down the nation, of course, the mining industry was also locked down. Workers could not get to work. We could not get necessary materials for blasting and excavation. And of course, the marketing aspect of it was also affected. Because the essence of mining is to make, to have enough revenue for the federal government, have enough revenue for the individual companies that are engaged in it, and create jobs for our teeming youth. And therefore, during the lockdown, all these things were not in place and becomes critical, and then we are apprehensive. But government took the necessary decision to be able to take steps to diversify quickly to the area where impact could be made. Most of the workers that could make it were connecting to each other on phone, and they were there trying to make ends meet. But it was not like it's supposed to be. Now, the outlook for this year is that things are looking up. The Ministry of Mine and Steel Development, headed by architect Olamide Adegbite, supported by Honorable Minister of State Samson Oga, and the Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Akelade, are doing their best to reposition this industry. And for us in COMEC, that's Council of Nigerian Mining Engineers and Geoscientists, we have keyed into this vision. And hitherto, we used to have our exam by organizing physical exam for our students, for our inductees. But this year, for the first time, we decided to engage and connect online. And we had our virtual exam in Port Harcourt, virtual exam in Lagos, virtual exam in Kaduna, and virtual exam, of course, in Abuja here. And the same thing was repeated for our induction programs. So we are trying to beat COVID-19 to its own game, and then we are moving forward. Other agencies are also doing the same to make sure that these workers are engaged, to make sure that the work we are supposed to do are ongoing. The revenue is coming in through COMEG and other sectors, and then that is helping the federal government to be able to be up to its responsibility.
Prof, let's now talk about...
most of our youths have been engaged.
Prof, let's talk about new expectations as a professional under the body of the Council of Nigerian Mining Engineers and Geoscientists. What new expectations or lines of conversation do you expect in terms of framework and legislation to now also help Nigeria play catch-up, because we see the extractive industry globally is taking a new front in terms of technology transfer and much more. Now with your council, what would you say with regards to the area of technology transfer and training as well? What new prospects do you expect for the year 2021, so that we also nip in the bud all of the exploitative tendencies we see in lines of operation within the mining sector?
Thank you very much. At COMEG, what we're trying to do, and the council has approved this, is to make sure that we engage our youth in such a way that we are able to organize professional program for them, and we induct them at the appropriate time, and of course, to be able to be globally competitive. We are making sure that the best reporting standards for minerals are the area we are looking at. For our products to be acceptable, our reports to be acceptable to investors. I'm talking of geological reports. I'm talking of mining feasibility reports. I'm talking of mine design. Our members have been trained, and proposal is on board to be able to make sure that the best practices is what we engage in. For instance, in terms of mineral reporting standard, we do not have one in Nigeria to date. And it's the desire of the honorable ministers and his team to make sure that we have a mineral reporting standard in Nigeria. So that, because that is one of the requirements for us to be a mining destination. The best that people are using all over the world now is about Australian standard and Canadian standard. We are key into that, and we are working towards that. And before the end of March, I can assure you that there are going to be a workshop for our members in that area. We have the support of the ministry. We have the support of the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals, headed by His Excellency Tanko Al-Yakuba. He has passion for this industry. We have discussed at length, and he has given us his word. Towards the end of last year, we are discussing in his office on how to be able to take Nigeria from the level we are in terms of competency in the area of mining and minerals extraction. Because when you cannot sign a report that is acceptable all over the world, then it becomes very difficult for our report to be accepted by international investors. And the best way to go is to have an area or an organization that will certify people and make them to be competent, to be able to now certify reports that are written in our different facets of mining, exploration, mining, and of course the steel sector. So we are working with NGSA on this. We are working with Mine Inspectorate Division on this, with MCO, headed by professionals, to be able to engage our members and make sure they are globally competitive. And COMEG will one of the organizations to be reckoned with when it comes to certification of competent persons for report writing. And in that wise, any mineral living in Nigeria can be certified to be of good grade, and the report will be accepted. Itato, Nigerian export minerals all over the world. I'm here telling you with facts and figures that most of the time, those minerals are not recorded in the name of Nigeria because we do not have this certification in place. And the minister is assiduous, is working towards that, so make sure that that is done. And that's the area we are now.
Prof, for the lack of this certification in place now, how do you think this would also affect our level of expansion in terms of our local capacity base and then the new competition we are exposed to with the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement? It's quite stiff at this point in time. We have to put our best foot forward if we're looking at revenue generation much more aggressively.
Now, we are on the right track. And we are moving forward along this line. Because for you to be able to say you want to be globally competitive, you must have professionals that are equipped with necessary tools. Universities and polytechnics are set up to train geoscientists and mine engineers, metallurgical engineers, petroleum engineers, hydrogeologists. This is our area of focus. And then they are now passed on to us to be able to certify them, to be able to work in the extractive industry. And then when you have such professionals who can move from one company in Nigeria to another company in Africa, then it becomes easier for us to key into this particular vision. Then, of course, mining companies will also be able to attract people that are competent, people that have been fully trained and certified to be able to move from one location to the other. I've been in Ghana now for 3 years on sabbatical leave. And then you could notice that most of the students that I trained, especially in Ghana, when I meet them after some years, they will tell him they are working in Congo now. They will tell him they are working in Mali now. How did they get there? It's because of the type of training they were given. And of course, Nigeria is always on course to be able to do that. We don't want to train for Nigerian market alone. That is the focus of the ministry. That's the focus of COMEG. And this is the area we are looking at. And COMEG are the apex regulatory agency in the extractive industry that generates 90% of our revenue. We are talking for all geoscientists working in petroleum industry. We are talking of all petroleum engineers. We are talking of mining engineers. We are talking of people in drilling industry, people in water resources. Then, of course, we know we have a role to play. And then be able to key into the vision of this government to be able to key into the after, so that at least Nigeria will be relevant in all facets of life.
Prof, there are some mistakes Nigeria is making at this point in time. Beyond the extraction of these minerals, we also have to visit the issue of exporting, going beyond the raw materials. We have to look at finished products. We've also made the same mistake in terms of oil production as well. We have not necessarily boosted or improved our refining capacity. As once again, the body under the Council of Nigerian Mining Engineers and Geoscientists, what's your word as well in terms of value addition and training in terms of filling this gap where we don't necessarily have much of refining capacity in the country?
Thank you very much. As at now, for the benefit of our members, in order to be updated, in order to be in line with international best practices, the Mining Act is being 2007 is being amended, and COMEG is a key stakeholder in that. And most of the focus of the ministry is to be able to address the issue of local capacity development, the issue of youth unemployment, and then the area of making sure that only professionals registered by COMEX hold important position in industries. These are all that have been addressed in this amendment. Now, the other one is the COMEG Act itself. COMEG was established by Act number 40 of 1990, 30 years ago. There are a lot of gaps now since the establishment of COMEG. So we are looking at a situation where, as from this year, necessary amendment will be proposed, and then we'll be able to capture the area that the local content bill, has already addressed, so that it will be inputted into what we are going to do, and to make sure that any area where Nigeria are supposed to function, they will function there. And then they will be able to work under the expatriate for quite some time, and then before the expatriate hand over. That is what is done all over the world. And that's exactly one of the focus of COMEG and, of course, of the ministry now. Our youth must be engaged. The minister is passionate about this, creating jobs, making sure that what Nigeria can do, especially don't come here to do it. The issue of quackery, the issue of illegal mining, of course, they've been addressed so that Nigerians can work in Nigeria and then be proud of their country. So local capacity building is also part of our work. We registered engineers, mining, metallurgical, petroleum, water resources. That's what the Act says. We also registered geoscientists, we call it geophysicists. We are talking of geologists. We are talking of hydrogeologists, engineering geologists, economic geologists, and the lot. And now we are also engaging in registering the lower level cadres, drillers, blasters, water resources guys, ASM guys, and a whole lot of other people to make sure that Nigerians own what is their own, and then they are adequately certified to be able to work in a good, safe environment and to reduce accident, mine accident to the minimum. If you have people that are not qualified and they are mining, you have a lot of accident reports. The information getting to us now is over the last 3 years, accidents in our mine have been drastically reduced. almost completely reduced, because most of the people that are working there are being supervised by trained COMEG members. For instance, to handle explosive is a serious issue. I am a trained explosive expert. So the Mine Inspector Division is working hard along with that area to make sure you cannot get certificate to blast unless you are fully registered, unless there are people that monitor it. So Nigeria is on the right track, and COMEG is in the forefront to make sure we work in a safer environment and make sure that people that are drilling, people that are blasting, people that are supervising in all the extractive industry value chains are adequately certified, monitored, and of course trained appropriately to be able to do this job. This is exactly what we are doing.
I like your focus on the fact that we are looking at the areas of specialization. Then we can hone our craft much more intensively. But at this point in time where we're still trying to push the agenda of one state, one product in terms of mining and the extractive industry now, yes, the council is working towards having, we have engineers and geoscientists with the recognized titles of engineer and architect and much more. But now, in terms of the area of specialization, what sort of efforts do you expect at state-by-state levels, consolidating on the efforts of your council? Prof, can you hear me? Okay, Prof,
well,
yes.
Sorry, I lost part of the question, but I can get earlier part that says clearly about the area of specialization of the people we certify. The Act number 40 of 1990 that set up COMEG made it mandatory for anybody, local or foreign, working in Nigeria, to be registered with COMEG. More importantly, you want to work in the extractive industry. And the area includes the area of engineering that deals with the extractive industry, that is mining, that is meteorological, petroleum, drilling, water resources, mineral processing, etc., etc. The area of geoscientists, where we have bulk of our members, we have geology, we have geophysics, we have engineering geology, we have economic geology, hydrology, and most of these people are found in 4 key ministries in Nigeria at the federal level. You have Ministry of Mine and State Development, you have Ministry of Petroleum Resources, we have Ministry of Water Resources, and lately, we have Ministry of Agricultural Resources. Ministry of Agric, because when you want to grow crop, you need rain. It's hydrogeologists that deal with that. When you need water, you need people to drill for you. We have people that do that. As at now, I'm glad to tell you that we have over 3,000 members that are registered, that have been certified competent to work in our extractive industry. We have over 200, close to 200 companies that have been registered and certified to work in our extractive industry. So, and we are moving further than that. We also want to, like I've said before, satisfy the lower cadre so that every level are duly certified to work, professionals in our extractive industry. These are the areas of our specialization. These are the areas we are looking at. And the next stage, as I've told you, to make sure that every of our members are competent internationally to endorse reports and to be able to key into such international recognized report like the Canadian's Mineral Reporting Standard that is well known all over the world, and the Australian Mineral Reporting Standard that is well known all over the world. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals has engaged COMEG to be able to work with us along this line. And of course, we have started talking and we still continue the discussion. The minister, the 2 of them, the permanent secretaries in the Ministry of Mine and State Development, they have given to this vision. They have seen the needs for COMEG to be where it's supposed to be. And they have provided all the logistics. I don't want to mention them here. They have provided all the logistics that we need to be able to impart the extractive industry in Nigeria for the best. This is exactly what we are for, and this is exactly what COMEG stands for.
Prof, now wrapping up our conversation, what level of, in terms of your forecasts now, what volume do you see in terms of growth do you expect for the year 2021 in terms of the extractive industry, the volume of export we would see this year?
Well, that's a good question, but I want to politely decline that. That is a policy question that has to do with my minister. he has the information of that. I do not have it because he has not given me the mandate to be able to discuss that. So about the forecast generally in the mining industry, the Honorable Minister is the only one that's competent to do that.
Okay, sir. Just wrapping up our conversation, do you think that the mining industry in Nigeria has a whole lot of prospect to grow despite the hit we've seen from the COVID-19 for this year?
Oh, I'm so optimistic.
Okay.
As a professor of mining engineering, I am optimistic that the federal government has taken the right decision to beat COVID-19.
Well,
because as at April, as at May, the papers were awash with information that most of our crude oil, they lie idle on the IC with nobody to buy them. And federal government took decision to diversify into mining, to diversify into agriculture. And the ministry has been supported by this government to be able to do that. And then, of course, the minister and all other directors there, they are working hard, including COMEC, to make sure that this diversification work very well. How do I mean? For instance, a lot of support advocacy is going on in the field. You all recollect the issue of poison issue in Zamfara State. Yeah. It's a thing of the past. We all recollect the issue of illegal mining. The ministry has organized people into cooperatives, and youth have been engaged. That is the effort that government is making. COMEC has been repositioned to be able to move all over the world, to be able to certify these people, and then be able to make sure that we limit and eliminate quackery and illegal mining, illegal operations in our fields.
That's
and all this
Prof.
put together is generating more fund, is bringing more revenue to the government, and of course, a lot still needs to be done.
A lot more.
Our resources lie under the heart.
Exactly, Prof.
Our resources, Nigerian resources, lie under the belly of the heart.
Yeah.
And the ministry is doing a lot, but COVID-19 has also created a problem because of shortage of funds. But
we're still dealing. We're still dealing with the second wave of the COVID-19. We have a whole lot more to do in terms of developing infrastructure to support the mining extractive industry. We still have to work in terms of technology transfer. We still have to perfect our craft. But as a whole, we are making progress, and we'll continue to consolidate on that. And hopefully, we'll see the mining sector really drive the economic growth we expect it to in terms of the contribution to GDP. Many thanks for your time on the show today, Professor Zacheus Opafunso. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's now time to take